Welcome back to Urban X-Files. My name is Keith, and today we are going to continue the series of most haunted cemeteries. This is episode 4, and this is Westminster Presbyterian Church in Baltimore, Maryland. This is also known as Westminster Hall and the burying ground. This cemetery became the final resting place of the who's who of Baltimore for many years. Its residents include Francis Scott Key's son and a variety of generals from the Revolutionary War of 1812, and its most famous resident, the enigmatic author Edgar Allan Poe. However, not all who live within its confinements are at rest, which could be due in part to the fact the church, now simply known as Westminster Hall, was built over part of the graveyard, and the graves beneath it can be accessed through the tunnels. If you can see there, my puppy Kobe, who likes to be in the videos. I think he wants to continue making his own channel. We made the channel when we first got him. I forget what it's called now, but I'll find it and send the link. He's such a cute puppy. So Edgar Allan Poe was found seriously ill in a semi-conscious state, wearing somebody else's clothes. He passed away only a few days later and was buried in the Westminster Presbyterian Cemetery, the part of the church that was built over. However, money was raised to have his body exhumed, and it was moved to a more prominent site near one of the entrance gates, and is marked with a headstone more appropriate for a man of his fame and his accomplishments. That, however, is not the end of Edgar Allan Poe's story. From 1949 to 2010, a mysterious man dressed in black would visit his grave on Poe's birthday every year, leaving behind a half-drank bottle of cognac and 3 red roses and a short note. Some people believe this is a ghostly spectre, while others insist the man is an actual physical being. Poe himself is said to appear in the cemetery around the time of his birthday, which was the 19th of January. He's dressed in black period-style clothes, and he carries a cane with a cat's head handle. As he walks through the cemetery, it is said he taps the cane as he goes along, and that the tap can be clearly heard. Sadly, Poe seems to disappear before anyone can catch up with him. There is also the Screaming Skull, which is one of the other famous legends associated with the Westminster burying ground, and it involves the Screaming Skull. The story is said the brutal murder of a local minister who was buried within the cemetery each night at a certain time. A chilling loud scream echoes throughout the cemetery every night. This is. Now, nobody can find the source of this Halloween scream, yet it's there every time. It's just no explanation, despite being many witnesses who've witnessed this all at the same time. Desperate to stop this otherworldly screaming, someone dug up the body, put a gag in the mouth of the skull, and placed a concrete block next to the grave. However, visitors to the cemetery still report the screaming sound, except it's more muffled. This emanates right throughout the grounds at night, a muffled screaming skull. Those who have listened to it rather than run away usually end up in some psychiatric state, who need care for the remainder of their lives. It seems once the scream is heard, it echoes through your mind and never stops. There are also catacombs there are also catacombs that are underneath Westminster Presbyterian Church that was built over the portion of the cemetery, which means a considerable portion of the graveyard is accessible only through these catacombs beneath the church. Many state this area is the most active and is filled with a dark history. This should not come to a surprise given the circumstances and considering that they've taken offence to have built a church over their remains. To make matters worse, these catacombs worked quite well for body snatchers and for students looking for corpses to practice medicine on. Now, the dead likely did not appreciate the presence of soldiers who used the catacombs as a hiding place for their weapons during the Civil War. Then came the Vandals, who thought nothing of deserting the bodies and desecrating the graves and damaging more. Between 1890 and 1920, many people were inexplicably drawn to visit the catacombs and to commit suicide while they were in there, joining the already dead. One is left wondering what kind of dark forces are at work to draw people to the catacombs to commit suicide, and for their souls to be joined with the others. Strange. One visitor felt an unbelievable chill as they walked these Gothic halls, while another may suddenly be met with an overwhelming stench, only to give it a few seconds, and this stench was like it was never there. Others have heard someone whisper in their ear, only to turn and find that nobody's there. There are other restless spirits who reside in Westminster Burial Ground. Visitors have seen a spirit that can only be described as a crazed lunatic rushing through the cemetery looking for something that he is unable to find. Others have reported sightings of a horrific drunken school dragging itself among the tombstones. There's a young girl named Miss Watson who died in 1816 has been seen many times praying at the cemetery. So if someone does pay a visit to this cemetery, remember, if you hear screaming, get out, otherwise that scream will be forever etched inside your mind. Hope you enjoyed this encounter of this crazy cemetery, the Westminster Presbyterian Church in Baltimore, Maryland. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more for episode 5 of the most haunted cemeteries throughout the world. Peace.